If you were building a computer, would you want 16 gigabytes of RAM or 32? What's best for your build? Today, we're going to talk about what type of RAM you should be putting in your computer. As you can clearly see, here I have 32 gigabytes of RAM, which would be, if you focus it, this set of RAM right here. Now this does say 16, but I have two sets, which if you do the math equals 32. Now, does everyone need 32 gigabytes of RAM? No. And let me tell you why. Okay? Let me tell you why. More RAM doesn't necessarily mean better performance. Switching the back is off. And now, we're going to remove the RAM. Now, always remember when you're installing like sticks of RAM, you always want to put it, well, it depends on your motherboard. In my case, the second and fourth slot. This will give you the fastest speeds. Okay, I currently have the RAM installed. So we're just going to boot up my computer real quick. Make sure everything turns on. If I killed my computer, I blame you guys. As you can see, it turns on. Now, switching out RAM sticks is pretty easy. As you saw, I just switched it out. It took me less than 5 minutes. And yeah. So the computer should start turning on. Now, when you guys do change your RAM, you will have to go into BIOS. Make sure your computer is getting the most out of your RAM. So this is the 2x8 16 gigabyte kit. This has 3600 megahertz of speed transfer. So what you're gonna go to do is you're gonna go here, I believe. You have to kind of look for it. Hold on, give me a second. I forgot how to do this. Okay. Yeah, here you go. You go to OC right here, depending on your motherboard. I have an MSI motherboard. So this is my setup. You're gonna go down here. You guys see that? Yeah, you guys can. I'm gonna go into a more detailed video later about how to do this. But you basically go here. You scroll down to your speed. This is 3600 megahertz speeds. It depends on the box once again. And then once you do that, you should just be able to save and exit. Save changes. It tells you the speed right there. Speed change. And push yes. And then after that, you should just be able to leave. There you go. So for this test, this very professional test, we're going to use War Thunder as an example. In War Thunder, if I could just spin this around here, you can see there's a benchmark section. So this is going to be our closed testing. Now obviously it's a game, you probably wouldn't want to trust this. We're going to go to Modern Conflict, right? This is going to be the bench test we're going to use for both of the items. Now this does check your whole system, or most of your system, for how it performs in this game. We're going to be using this as the testing grounds, how it performs in War Thunder. Obviously it depends on the game, and it depends, on a bunch of aspects. But just for today's test, we're going to be doing it here. So we're just going to load in. So here you go. We're in the Modern Conflict. Everything is... Oops, I hit the camera on accident. There you go. Benchmark is over. Now you see that rating on the bottom. Obviously my FPS is logged. But we got a 3906 on Modern Conflict. Now, we're going to shut down the computer again and install the 32 gigabyte kit. And we're going to test that again. So, I'll be right back. Okay, guys. Well, I've installed the new RAM. So, let's see if it turns on. As you can see, boots right up. There's the GPU. Now, this is the RAM kit I'm rocking with right now. It's a little bright there. As you can see, everything's booted up back to normal. if we see, like, swing the camera over here, you will see that same message. Device, CPU, or memory, or CMOS has been cleared. Please enter setup to configure your system. I'm gonna go a little bit more into depth right here. Same thing, I'm not gonna go into the depths of like the BIOS and everything. Now, I'm gonna go push F1, run to setup real quick. As you can see, my speed is at 3600 megahertz. If I use that here with this 32 megahertz RAM, one out of two things will happen. It'll do a really bad overclock and it'll damage the CPU eventually, not CPU, RAM eventually. Or I could just tone it down, you know? As you can see there, all I did was tone down the RAM right here. Nothing else has changed. I'm gonna go to exit. So let's say, do you want me to confirm? There you go. Now I'm gonna load into War Thunder again and show you the thing again, you know? The benchmark. Now we are doing the benchmark with the better stick of RAM, or the better sticks, theoretically speaking. This is a 32 gig, 3200 megahertz speed. And it looks like the test is over. And we got a score. The score is 3902. So now we're going to go compare the scores right now. Okay, so as you saw, we actually did 4 points worse with the 32 gigabyte kit. And I'm going to tell you why real quick. Now, usually when you have 32 gigs, you're doing things like editing. Right? Oh, it needs an update. You need something to do editing. Right? Now, with this 32 gigabyte kit, I edit a lot for obviously what you're watching right now and a lot of other things. So 32 gigabytes of RAM is very beneficial to me because it gives me my computer, think of it as like more brain power that isn't the CPU or GPU. It gives it more space to think, put it that way, which for me is really good. Now on War Thunder, as you see, a game I play, the 16 gigabyte kit did a lot, well, not a lot better, did slightly better performance wise. Why? Because games, most titles, you won't need anything more than 16 gigabytes of RAM, and this is a fast type of 16 gigs, 3600 megahertz. War Thunder doesn't really use that much RAM, so even though I had more RAM, which theoretically is better, it had no difference because it doesn't use that much RAM. So for games, if all you're going to be doing is playing stuff like that, you will be more than fine. A lot more than fine. If you're doing stuff like editing, where you need that more RAM, or if you have more intensive games such as like, what's a game, Star Citizen, games like that, then I would go with purchasing 32 gigs. If not, a simple kit such as this right here. Is it gonna focus? This should do you perfectly fine. So next time you build a computer, if you're building a computer for the first time, do you really need that RAM? Probably not. And this video is here just to tell you, or show you a little bit of that difference. Now obviously this wasn't a full scale, look into the benefits of more or less RAM. But this is at least showing you that you do not need a lot of RAM for simple games. Now that's going to be it for me today. Thank you guys for watching this video and have a good day. I just want to say, by the way, guys, not everything in this video is 100% true. For instance, I mean, I try to be as truthful as possible, but the War Thunder benchmark, I don't know how accurate it was, just because I believe the game doesn't use that much RAM. And overclocking your RAM will not damage it per se. It'll make it unstable until it's unusable. That's the proper way of saying it. Now, maybe down the road, if this does get a lot of traction, or not a lot of traction, but like feedback, I will probably do a more in-depth comparison with better benchmarking skills. But this is just something I decided to throw up because I haven't been posting. Anyways, guys, have a good day.